Across the street from my house, there's a very old playground. Despite the fact that all the swings are rusty and creak, they're still in demand. Most adults, especially the elderly, hate them for that creaking sound. One day we were out walking, the three of us, and passing by the playground we ran to the swings. Emily and I managed to take the seats, but Sarah didn't, so she just stood nearby. "Girls, maybe we shouldn't swing or they'll yell at us again," said Sarah. "Let them yell, we have the right," replied Emily. "Sarah, stop being such a buzzkill," I added. "Let's talk about my birthday tomorrow instead," said Emily. "You remember, right? We're gathering at my place at 2 p.m. Dad bought a huge cake, but it's a shame he won't be there tomorrow. Ever since Mom passed away, he spends all his time at work, so don't be late or I'll be in a bad mood." I promised that we'd be on time. It's really sad for Emily. You can tell how much she misses her mom. At that moment, we saw an old lady approaching us. Her face was filled with anger. "Here we go," I thought. "You girls are driving me crazy with that creaking. Get out of here," she shouted. "Let's go, girls," said Sarah. "It's none of your business," Emily shouted back. "I hope you break your necks at your useless birthday parties." The old woman yelled terrible things. "Get lost, you old hag," Emily shouted. Emily is a pretty fiery girl, which is why I love her. The old woman swung her cane at her, but Emily managed to dodge. Just then, a car pulled up, and Emily's dad, Uncle Jack, jumped out. "Don't you dare touch my daughter," he said menacingly. "Oh, I dare," the old lady replied, and swung her cane at Emily again. Thankfully, Uncle Jack grabbed the cane and drove that nasty old woman away. "Emily, you shouldn't be rude to your elders, even if they're wrong," said Uncle Jack. "But Dad, how can I tolerate such rudeness? I think if someone is rude to me, I can respond the same way." "Emily, what if I hadn't been there, and she had hit you? Your upcoming birthday would have been ruined. Don't do that again. Get off the swing and let's go home for dinner." "Okay, Dad. See you tomorrow, girls." We said goodbye to them. I invited Sarah to take the seat on the swing. "I think I'll head home instead. I'm not in the mood to go near those swings, and besides, I need to finish my homework. So, see you tomorrow." I said goodbye to Sarah. After swinging for a few more minutes, I decided to go home too. When I entered the building, I was disappointed that the elevator wasn't working. I had to walk up to the 7th floor. At home, I packed my things. The next morning, I woke up in a great mood. Everything was done, and today is Emily's birthday, so I can stay overnight at her place. I got dressed, washed up, and went to the kitchen. My breakfast was waiting for me on the table, left by Mom. I didn't eat much, but that's okay. Delicious cake is better enjoyed on an empty stomach. Sarah and I agreed to meet at 1:30 p.m. and then head to Emily's place together. Time dragged on so painfully, even slower than during school lessons. Finally, it was time to leave the house. The elevator still wasn't working, but it didn't bother me today. I wouldn't have taken it anyway, not after getting stuck in it once and having to wait 6 hours for the repairman. I'm not risking that, not with delicious cake waiting. After meeting up with Sarah, we headed to Emily's. The door to her building was open. Someone was moving furniture. Probably another family moving in or out of our neighborhood. We went upstairs and rang the doorbell, but no one answered. "She's messing with us," I said. "Seems like it," Sarah replied. "But since no one's answering, let's go home, Dash. Let's go." We put on a little act, but the door still didn't open. "She knows we're joking. I'm tired of her jokes," said Sarah. "Come on, it's fun," I said. I approached the door and pulled the handle. The door opened. "See, it's all about using your wits." Emily didn't respond. "She's probably hiding," Sarah guessed. "Definitely," I agreed. "Okay, let's find her." "Let's." We confidently walked into the room, but it was empty. "Okay, let's split up," I suggested. "Sure," Sarah said and headed to the kitchen. I looked under the bed and in the closets, but then I heard Sarah scream, followed by sobbing. I was terrified and ran to her, but she didn't see me. She bolted out of the apartment, screaming for help at the top of her lungs. I didn't go to the kitchen. Instead, I ran after Sarah. She was standing on the stair landing. Sarah, what happened? But there was no answer, only hysterical crying. A door to a nearby apartment opened, and a large man stepped out. Girls, what's going on? Then another door opened and a woman came out. I told them I didn't know. Through her tears, Sarah pointed at Emily's open apartment door. The man went in, and the woman tried to calm Sarah down. A minute later, the man came out, walked over to the woman, whispered something to her, and told us to stay where we were. Then he went to call an ambulance and the police. Please tell me what happened to Emily, I asked. She's very sick, the woman replied. What are you talking about? She's not sick, she's dead. Her head is twisted 360 degrees. You don't live with that. Sarah screamed hysterically and kept crying. I was in shock. The realization that Emily was gone came slowly, but with each second my emotions intensified. First, tears started streaming down my face. Then I clung to Sarah and began crying too. When the police arrived, they took us for questioning and called our parents to the station. A couple of hours later, they released us. As we were leaving the police station, we saw Uncle Jack outside. He looked devastated. Fear gripped me. What if he thinks it's our fault? It wasn't us, Uncle Jack, I said. Sarah started crying again from the stress. I know, girls, you couldn't have. Go home and rest. Our parents tried to comfort him, but in such a situation, there's little that can be done. Only time can help. When I got home and went to my room, I started thinking about how something like this could happen. I quickly remembered the old woman who had tried to hit Emily. She had wished us broken necks on our birthdays. Damn, why didn't we mention her to the police? But how could she have broken Emily's neck? Maybe she's a witch and cursed us, and now the same thing will happen to us. I ran to my parents and told them about the old woman. They told me not to worry, that they would report it to the investigator tomorrow. The next day I called everyone I knew and told them about the evil old woman. Rumors spread quickly, and the police got interested too. Now I felt a little more at ease, but without Emily, life felt empty. Sarah and I continued to hang out almost every day, but it wasn't the same. It was more fun with Emily. After what happened, Sarah became even more scared of everything and started going home early. The beloved creaky swings were also empty. Many people were now afraid of the witch's curse. Every day became monotonous, and I missed Emily terribly. One evening, the phone rang. I picked up. It was Sarah. Do you remember what day it is tomorrow? I started to think, then it hit me. Of course I remember, it's your birthday. That's right, we'll celebrate together, she said. A flood of memories rushed back, but I didn't show it. Of course, I'll come. Are we meeting at your place? I asked. No, my parents gave me some money. We're going to a cafe tomorrow. That made me happy. Going to Sarah's place for her birthday was scary, but nothing bad could happen in a cafe, right? That day I woke up late. The first thing I did was go to the kitchen. My parents were sitting there. Mom, why didn't you wake me? I could be late meeting Sarah. My parents had sad expressions on their faces, which really worried me. Sweetie, we need to talk, Dad said, and Mom started crying and left the room. Dad, what happened? It was clear he was struggling to speak. Please sit down. I sat down. Here's the thing. How should I put this? Sarah is gone. What? How is she gone? She fell down the stairs and broke her neck. I was gripped by terror. My head started spinning and I began to lose consciousness. Dad quickly revived me by splashing cold water on my face. Coming to, I said, "It's the witch's curse and I'll die on my birthday too." Don't talk nonsense, sweetie. We'll protect you like the president on your birthday. Honestly, his words didn't comfort me much. Only one thought swirled in my mind. It's all happening again. And I'm next, in a week. I wanted to find that old woman and beg her to stop this. Unfortunately, she hadn't been arrested back then, and now she had become the main fortune teller in our neighborhood. Every fifth person was giving her money. When I saw her on the street, I didn't recognize her at first. She was dressed in all expensive clothes, with gold bracelets on her wrists. I hesitantly approached her and greeted her, but she didn't respond, only gave me a contemptuous look. "I beg you, lift your curse from me." "Oh, I remember you, silly girl. Not having fun anymore? No, please, stop this." People began to gather on the street. She had become popular because of us, so she should forgive me. "Screw you. Bring your friends to beg for forgiveness, and then I'll lift the curse." "They're dead. How can I bring them?" "When you bring them, I'll forgive you." She walked away. What a vengeful hag, I thought. I ran home and told my parents. They promised to deal with it. The next day, they came into my room and told me they had given her almost all our money and she promised she wouldn't bother me anymore. Tears welled up in my eyes, but I tried to hold them back. Then the doorbell rang. I went to the door and looked through the peephole. Mom told me to open it and invite the guest to join us at the table. When I opened the door, I saw Uncle Jack and smiled, but there was no joy on his face. "Daisy, happy birthday. I want to give you a special gift." "Thank you, Uncle Jack. Come in. What's the gift?" "Do you remember Emily?" "Of course, she was my best friend." "And that evil old woman?" "What strange questions, Uncle Jack." "I remember her too." "And Sarah?" "Uncle Jack, what's with the questions?" "When my wife, Emily's mom, died, I thought my life was over. But I lived only for her, for my daughter Emily. And one day, the day that evil old woman tried to hit her, it dawned on me. Emily missed her mother so much, she was suffering. I wanted to relieve her of that suffering. Our mom is in a better place, and I decided that we needed to be with her. First, I sent Emily to her, and then I planned to follow. But I realized that my daughter wouldn't be happy without her friends. I gave that gift to Sarah. Now she's having fun there with my Emily, and now it's your turn to receive this gift. You want to be with your friends, don't you?" "You're insane!" I screamed. Madness. He came towards me, his eyes indifferent and cold. "Believe me, I'm doing this for you," he said, reaching out his hands to me. Suddenly, my dad jumped on him, but Uncle Jack quickly overpowered him and started choking him. I screamed and hit Uncle Jack, then kicked him in the nose, making it bleed. My mom ran in and screamed too. Dad was losing the fight. Unlike Uncle Jack, he wasn't trained in martial arts. I ran to the kitchen and grabbed the biggest knife. Dad was already suffocating. I gripped the knife with both hands, raised it high, closed my eyes and plunged it with all my strength into Uncle Jack's back. His grip loosened, and he let go of Dad, gasping for air. Dad quickly recovered and restrained him. Mom was in shock from everything that had happened, but she called an ambulance and the police. Crazy Uncle Jack survived. No vital organs were damaged. He underwent surgery, spent some time in the hospital, and was then declared insane and sent for long-term mandatory treatment. Dad tells me I saved his life. We continue to live in this apartment and in this neighborhood, but I would really love to move. I'm terribly annoyed that my parents gave almost all our money to that old charlatan, but I'll definitely come up with something and get it back from her.